Hello, I'm Esteban, and this is the install maintenance guide for the Robotics Academy website. For this project, we'll use a Windows 10 64-bit machine using Microsoft's Windows subsystem for Linux on a Ubuntu distro. Take the time to install WSL using the link in the video's description. This shouldn't take any longer than 5 minutes depending on your download speed. We recommend using Ubuntu's distro when going into the Microsoft Store. If you already have a Linux environment you are comfortable with, like XAMPP or other alternatives, then you can use that. Now let's make sure you have all the dependencies installed. Let's start with getting and updating Ubuntu. Type sudo apt-get update and sudo apt-get upgrade. Then install PHP via this command. This process may take a while depending on your internet connection. I recommend you do something else and check back later. Here are some more additional installations. These install a lot faster than the ones before. Okay, time to install Composer on WSL. cd into your home by typing cd squiggly. Then download Composer by typing the following command. Then run the file by typing this command. Now finally, we are apt install using sudo apt install Composer. Now check the following if this required is in composer.json. If it's not, Control X, press Y, then enter. That should save and close the editor. Now change the permissions of Composer by typing the following command. And then run this command, Composer global update. Now to ensure Composer can be seen by the path, type sudo nano squiggly /.-rc and paste the following export to the bottom of the page. Now open the profile file, sudo nano squiggly /.profile, and add the following path to the bottom of the page. Now we change the permissions of .composer again with the following command. You can test if Composer has been installed successfully by typing Composer. Now it is time to install MySQL. You can install MySQL on the Windows side or in WSL. We will show you how to install MySQL in WSL. Note, this process may give out an error, but it is intended. Type sudo apt-get install MySQL Server. If it does provide an error, please close out WSL completely by closing out all windows. After closing WSL, type the following command to continue. Now stop the service by typing this command and change the MySQL property using this sudo command. Now start MySQL again by typing sudo service MySQL start. Log into MySQL by typing sudo MySQL-u root. We are now going to recreate root and have the password be nothing. No password is just used for the development build of our databases and not in production. In the MySQL console, type the following select command, and then drop and then create command, and then grant all privileges to the new root user. And finally, plus privileges, then exit. To make it easier to read and edit the database, install the standalone workbench from MySQL using a link in the video description. Once you finish installing MySQL Workbench, on the home screen, click the plus to add a new connection. Make sure the host name is the local host of 127.0.0.1 with a port of 3306. These should be the defaults for your host name and port. The username will be root and the password is blank. If your MySQL is installed correctly, the tested connection should work. For this next part, it is not needed as you can type sudo service apache2 and start and sudo service MySQL start every time you open WSL, but this will automate it for you. To start automatically at startup, type cd squiggly, then go to nanostart-services.sh and paste the following script. Control X, press Y, then enter. Change the permissions of this file by typing the following command. Now go to your auto file by typing nano squiggly /.bash rc and add the new line to the bottom. Control X, Y, enter. This is not needed, but when I first joined this project, I used this following guide to help me. Link in the video's description. Once the environment has been finished setting up, we can begin installing and running Laravel on your local machine. Start with downloading the project from the Git. Git clone the following URL. If you do not have access to this GitHub, please request access from the Robotics Academy team. Once the download is complete, change directories to the new Robotics Academy folder by cd Robotics Academy. Inside the root of your folder, you will need to copy and rename the .iv.example file to .iv in the root of your project. Do so by typing the following command: cp.iv.example.iv. Inside your .iv file, you will need to fill out the information you provided in your database setup. For this example, we will need to be using the root account with no password and a database called Laravel in your MySQL. You could go to your workbench and create a new schema called Laravel. Once you create a schema called Laravel, you can return to WSL and edit the following contents on the inside: database user, password, and database name will need to be filled out. By default, it will be called Laravel with a root and no password. If you didn't make any changes to the schema name or your MySQL credentials, then you may exit out by Control X. Yeah. For Laravel to properly run, type the following command. Type the command composer install. From here, wait for your program to finish installing. Type the following command. PHP artisan key : generate. Afterwards, the MySQL database will need the proper titles set up for the site to function. Type the following command. PHP artisan migrate. This next step is not needed to run the site, but will allow you to log in via the setup process. Please note, to create a user account, you will need to seed the database. The following command will seed a pre-made account into the database with the following credentials. Username, test user. Email, testuser@fiu.edu. Password, A1234567Z. By using PHP artisan migrate -- seed, you will seed the database. To customize this information, edit the file located in database/seeds/user-table-seeder.php. Setup is now finished. Run the following command. PHP artisan serve. If all is well, the command will return a PHP console with the address of the live server. This can be accessed using your local browser on your computer. This concludes the Laravel setup section. For the forum section, make sure the Laravel site is not running before proceeding. Since Flarum is an ever-changing Flarum application, we recommend visiting their installation guide for further details. The link in the video description. We recommend not having Flarum run inside the Laravel folder, so change directories. The following Flarum installation will act as a scratchpad for forum features. It will not have an automatic way to push to the live site. For the sake of learning and understanding how Flarum functions, please proceed. Git clone the old project from the following command. Note, if you have an error downloading, then you do not have access to this Git project, and you will need to request access from the team. Move to a newly created demo folder. Now make sure you are Git checked out to temp by using the following command. For this part of the website, you'll be using Apache 2. Using the following command, sudo apt-get install Apache 2. Now make and set up the config file by typing this command. Following with this command with nano. Since this is a setup for a local network, replace document root with document root var www html web ra training demo /public. Control X, Y, and press enter. Time to disable the default localhost site Apache 2 provides and enable our own website. The following command will disable the default Apache website. This next command will enable our config. Now reload the Apache 2 server. Now we will see the database. Using a user, password, and Flarum database created in the MySQL section. Make sure you are in the root of your project, where the backup file is located. Now type the following command. Now set up the config file for your local system. This will be the config PHP file for Flarum. Replace the DB name, DB user, and DB password with your MySQL credentials. For this example setup, the credentials are Flarum, root, and no password. Control X, Y, and remove the .example from the end of the file name. This will create the config.php file for your Flarum installation. Then install the vendor files by typing composer install. At this point, the installation is almost complete. Before deploying, please type php flarum cache clear. At this point, if any errors appear, try changing ownership by typing the following choon command. And make sure Laravel PHP Artisan is not running. With this, go to http://localhost in your browser. For this section, we'll talk about how to push your changes to the production website. We'll be using PuTTY to connect to the website. For the host name, put roboticsacademy.fiu.edu. And for the port, put 22. You could save this as a future section by adding a name to saved sections and then pressing the Save button. Now open to access the roboticsacademy.fiu.edu production server. You will need access from the development team. Once they give you access, it should be the same as logging into FIU Ocelot. Now, to access the FIU Laravel website, please go to the following command. In this folder, you will see the files for the Laravel project. To pull, please type sudo git pull. In this example, it is already up to date, but we'll change that. Now here, we are using Visual Studio Code for our project. We can make changes and push them to the GitHub. This is a change to master. Now here, we push our changes to master. Going back to the console, if we do sudo git pull, the changes will be pushed. And you see here that the changed value has updated onto the production website. To ensure there are no permission errors, type the following command after every sudo git pull. That concludes how to change the Laravel site. I will now briefly discuss what each folder contains, which folders will be needed to edit the Laravel website. In the app folder contains files for controlling the application on the server side, such as the search, authentication, and other middleware background processes. For the database folder, it will contain migrations, seeding for development, inside the migrations folder will contain how to create tables in the schema connected to the Laravel website. Inside the public folder will contain all files that are needed to be accessed by the users. Please only contain files that will be accessed by the users in the public folder. This includes images, fonts, CSS files, JavaScript, 3D models, and other file types that will need to be downloaded by the user. In the resources folder will contain the pages created for the website, layouts for those pages, other such pages for login, registering, and verifying, under the routes folder will contain special application files. At the moment, you're most likely going to be using web.php to control the routes for each page. Under vendor will contain all of the installed files for the application. Vendor files are created when running the command composer install and are needed for the program to run. If you ever download the project and encounter errors and you do not have the vendor folder, then know that you have not installed the project. In.iv will contain all the settings for the project. That concludes a short rundown of the files within the Laravel project. Now, this section will include how to change the forum application of the Robotics Academy website. Log in as an admin and go to Administration. Within the Administration tab, you could change the forum title, forum descriptions, and homepage of the forum application. To change permissions, go to the Permissions tab and edit the individual functions of the forum application. To change the appearance of the website, click on the Appearance tab and click on Edit Custom CSS. For most of the changes of the Flarum application has been through CSS. To add JavaScript to the forum application, please include it in the custom footer. For additional scripts, you may run them in the custom header. Now, Flarum includes many extensions. Under the Extensions tab, you'll find how to enable and disable extensions, and also including settings for each extension. If you click on the Bazaar tab, it will take you to a list of more extensions, including updates to the installed extensions. Now, additional settings for visuals will be seen on the left bar. Under the Links tab, you may add links to the nav bar in the forum application. Under Pretty Mail, the mail sendouts can be edited. And for the last tab will be categories, and where each category can be edited. This concludes the settings section of the forum application. This section will talk about how to connect to the MySQL database under the production website. Click on New Connection. Type in a connection name. Click on Standard TCP over SSH. Now, for here, we'll connect to the IP address of the server. For the username, it'll be the same as when you're connecting to PuTTY. Leave the host name the same. Leave the port number the same. For the username and password for the MySQL database on the production server, it is Robotics Academy. And for the password, it will be in your documentation. And you see here is the tables for the production server. Thank you for watching.